Peter Taylor, the Lazy Project Manager, talks social project management for projectmanagement.com, powered by PMI.
Hi there, my name is Peter Taylor, but you may know me through my alter ego, the author of The Lazy Project Manager. But today I'm not talking about lazy project management, I want to talk to you about social project management. This is an emerging and evolving world, and through this series of videos we will together explore this world, this exciting world, and what opportunities it can bring us as project managers. But there is a challenge. We have to find out a way of balancing the social collaborative world with the need for centralised control and governance in this very project driven world. So join me and explore the world of the social project manager. The rule of tribe and the 30-150 rule. The interesting one. Below 30 people, an organisation is defined as a tribe. This comes from the work of James Altucher. So below 30 people, an organisation is a tribe. 70,000 years ago, if a tribe got bigger than 30 people, there's evidence it was split into two tribes, i.e. it got too big. A tribe is like a family. With a family you learn personally who to trust and who not to trust. You learn who to care for individuals and their individual problems. You know everything about the people in your tribe because the quantity of those relationships is at a reasonable level. At 30 people, a leader spends time with each person in the tribe and knows how to listen to their issues. From 30 to 150 people, you might not know everyone. That's really hard work to get to know 150 people. But you know of everyone. You know you can trust Jill because Jack tells you that you can trust Jill, and you can already trust Jack, so there is the connection. After 150 people, you can't keep track of everyone. It's impossible. So first comes the project manager, of course. I mean, where else would you start? I mean, this is the logical commencement of a discussion around social project management and the transformation into becoming a social project manager in a social project world. So you've got to start to understand, what does it mean to be a social project manager in this modern world? How should you think differently? What should you think about differently as opposed to more traditional project management? We saw in one of the earlier episodes we talked about project management 2.0 as opposed to historical project management 1.0 or project management foundations. And then what's the behaviour? What's the behaviour of what it is that you should do? How should you behave? How should you act? You know, driven by the meaning of being a project manager, driven by the way you should think, obviously, but how should you behave in this modern world? And we're going to commence that with another one of our guest contributors to this series, talking about first comes the project manager. Alex Homsey is CEO of Trilog Group, and Dr. John Tripp, PhD Trilog Group, reflect on what it means to be a social project manager as one of the contributors to the book, The Social Project Manager. The first step in building a social project team, they say, is to set the tone by being a social project manager. So what does that mean? Social project managers work to help increase their project team's performance by encouraging and enabling the following: collaboration, communication and commitment. Transparent information, sharing it in a time-efficient way. Visibility of collective purpose. Self-correcting communication. Removal of burdensome bureaucracy and empowerment of the individual. Provision of the right level of enterprise governance. Social project managers use modern software tools to decentralize specific project processes but retain the collaborative essentials. The team can now complete processes that were previously completed by the project manager in a self-directed manner. That being said, a social project manager does not abandon his training. Just like traditional project managers, a social project manager is still responsible for the application of knowledge, skills, tools and techniques to project activities to meet the project requirements. However, a social project manager relies heavily on tools that have emerged in the past 10 to 15 years to reduce bureaucracy and overhead and to empower their team. So, we have an immediate and interesting balancing of the old and the new. Traditional project management and project management 2.0, but with a strong focus on the empowerment of team members. That's the big, big difference. Now, all of this is built upon a foundation of collaboration, of coordination, and of commitment, linked with communication, of course, but bringing those kind of three C's together, collaboration, coordination, and commitment, then you have the foundations for being a social project manager. But being a successful project manager, a successful social project manager, it requires a combination of the two. It's like that potential conflict, which is actually the foundation of success, which is the combination of, having that plan, having that control, having that kind of centralized governance that projects require, but while still building on the huge benefits of a collaborative project team, stakeholders, users, etc., that community that is out there that could really support you in what you're doing. And so social project management kind of stands or falls on getting that balance right. If you get the balance wrong, i.e. it's too much planning, governance, etc., and not enough of the collaboration, then you really aren't in the social project management world. Of course, it cannot be purely on a committee, collective, collaborative basis. You still need some control. So getting that right is really, really important. And one of the ways I found that works in drawing all of this together is this concept that I talk about, which is the visibility of purpose. The visibility of purpose. And what I mean by that is that everybody on the project team understands what on earth the project is all about. So, here's an example. I reviewed a project some time ago, and I could quite quickly identify the original core members of the project team, because when I asked them many questions, of course, but one of the things I asked them was, can you describe the purpose of this project? And the core team could do that because they'd been through that kind of project kick-off, project preparation, grounding, foundation kind of stuff. They were there at the heart of what was going on. They understood what the project was all about. But it was dead easy to go and find a number of people who were 1, 2, 3 stages removed from the core project team. Maybe they came in later on during the project ramp up. Maybe they were specialised resources. In one case they were an offshore third party resource that was working on a subcomponent of coding for this particular project. And by asking them the question, what is the purpose of this project? What you got back was just a blank expression. No idea. I'm just doing what has been asked of, which is this tiny little component, this isolated, siloed part of the overall project, but I have no visibility of purpose. Why I'm doing this is because someone told me to do this. I have no idea I'm doing this before the greater good, the greater benefit, the entire business justification of the project in the first place. And that's one of the key things that a social project manager will uncover. Well, I think all project managers should do this anyway, but I think a social project manager, if they require to get buy-in to this kind of collaborative world, this collaborative yet coordinated, yet managed, yet everybody committed to the project, then they need to reach out to their project community to ensure that they understand what it is this project's all about. Because once you think about yourself, once you understand something, once you're connected to it in some way, you are more committed to it, because there's always that issue with particularly remote resources that they're working somewhere miles away, sometimes hundreds, thousands of miles away from where you are as a project manager, and yet you want them committed to what it is that you're doing. And the reality is they are far more likely to respond to what their manager says, who lives just down the hallway or on the same building, than they are you, the project manager, who's the other side of the planet, for example. I mean, all of this comes together. This collaboration comes from engagement. Engagement comes from understanding what it's about and buying into the project. So one of your key jobs as a social project manager is, apart from this kind of foundation of beginning to understand what it means to be a social project manager, how to think as a social manager, how to behave as a social manager, is to ensure that all of the people on your project team, the core team, the close team, or even or the remote team as well, are really engaged in what it is you're trying to do and believe. That's the key. They've got to believe in the project. If they don't believe in the project, they're just going to treat it as another few hours of work with no particular real impact or priority or importance, and therefore they're going to do a job according to that. But if they get it, if they understand what the project's all about, if they have that visibility of purpose, then they're going to be engaged, they can be committed, and their collaborative engagement is going to be much higher, and their collaborative contribution is going to be of just real value.
In the next episode, the challenges of the social project world.